那我们就可以开始下一场的说明会。各位朋友大家好，欢迎大家今天参加我们2022年 European Study Talk 留学欧洲说明会。那留学欧洲说明会是由欧洲在台官方单位联合举办，那要从2022年的9月一直进行到2023年的2月。整个系列活动将邀请到超过50多所的欧洲知名高等校院来进行留学欧洲线上说明会。那的国家有德国、英国、法国、比利时、荷兰、瑞士以及意大利、瑞典等等顶尖欧洲大学将接力的为台湾学生你们留学欧洲计划来指点迷津。那学校除了有提供商管学院、资讯学院，更有著名的理工、设计、观光、医学院等科系的学校来加入。他们都将提供你最新教育制度、申请流程、奖学金以及毕业后在当地工作或创业等最新资讯。你一定可以收集到你所需要的资讯和听到部分有些学校的学长姐的经验分享。那他这都是要来帮助你，为你准备出国留学来做准备。今晚留学欧洲部署未来即将要介绍给您的是比利时 Flemish 高等教育 Flemish Higher Education Council Study in Flanders。那紧接是由我们比利时这个教育校代将要带给你发现比利时、荷兰语部分的18所 Flanders 高等教育机构的英语课程的学位课程，你将在找到有关于法兰德斯以及布鲁塞尔学习和生活的相关资讯。可以来听听这个 Study in Flanders 如何帮助你部署你的未来，还有你该怎么样准备强化你的专业跟人脉，知道我们国际学生这个留学跟职涯的路可以是什么样子的。在这个大家都知道比利时以及还有布鲁塞尔是欧洲整个经济政治非常多的重要的中心。那你待会听到这个 Study in Flanders 这个比利时荷兰部分语区18所这个大学的教育机构的英语课程英语授课的课程学位课程，你就有机会可以来考虑一下，到底你可以在这个语区在比利时怎么样来部署你的未来，以及来强化你的专业。那你该怎么样知道你的留学跟职涯之路是叫怎么样来布局？我们校代等一下会提供详细的课程介绍、申请要求以及程序，还有学校生活费用等等资讯。还有大家千万不要忘记把你想问的问题打在我们的 Q&A 的栏位中，我们会请校代尽可能的回复你。好 ，OK， so next, we are going to have the information sharing about study in Flanders. There are 18 universities in higher education in university in this area. So Mrs. Myfores is going to tell us more details. That's welcome her. Thank you.
Thank you so much for welcoming me. So here I'm going to share my presentation. Do you see it now?
Yes, I can see
yes.
you now.
Okay, thank you. So here you see my name, Renilde Knevels. I am policy advisor at the Flemish Higher Education Council, and we represent, yes, indeed, 18 higher education institutions in Flanders. So these are the topics we are going to talk about. First, I'm going to give you a bit more general information about Belgium and Flanders, and then, of course, we will focus on the higher education system and all the aspects of studying here. So I think you know that Belgium is here, but Flanders is the white, so it's the north part of Belgium, the tiny little country here. To the north, we have the Netherlands, then Germany, Luxembourg, and France are the neighboring countries. Brussels, of course, is the capital. I suppose you know that. Some facts about Belgium. Belgium was one of the founding member states of the EU back in the early days when there were only 6 countries. We have a population of 11.5 million. And we have 3 official languages spoken in Belgium. So that's Dutch, French, and German. And then for Flanders is the north part where Dutch is the official language. So we are a federal country, but Flanders then is a federated entity of the federal state of Belgium. If you look at the Flanders region only, we have 6.5 million inhabitants. So there are a bit more Flemish-speaking citizens than French-speaking citizens in the total of Belgium. Here, this white little dot is Brussels. That's because Brussels is bilingual officially, so Dutch and French are official languages in Brussels. Brussels is a small capital, actually. It's 1.2 million inhabitants, so it's a capital, but on the other hand, it's still very easy to navigate by bike, by metro, by tram, by bus. And it's also very easy to reach other places in Belgium and in Europe. As you see here, we can travel by train in, let's say, 2 hours to Paris, London, Amsterdam. As you know, we have a train under the sea here to travel straight to London. So that's all very easy. Then we have, of course, lots of international organizations. As you probably know, we are the headquarters of the European Commission, NATO as well, but we will come back to that later. Now, why would you have to choose us as a study destination? When we talk to international students, they kind of mention the same aspects, what they like about us as a study destination, and we came up with 6 points here. So 6 reasons to study in Flanders. First of all, for the excellent higher education. It is true, if you look at the rankings, the bigger universities are all in the rankings. Some are in the top 50 even, so you do find excellent higher education here. And also at a very interesting price. So the excellent price quality ratio is probably the number one reason students mention when they say why they come to study here. The background behind this is that access to higher education is a very important value in our society and in our policy. So we think that the average cost of 1 year higher education in studies is around 12,000 euros, but your tuition fees as non-EU students will be much less usually, because there is still a share of taxpayers' money going to higher education, even if it's for non-EU students. So we also are an open and multilingual society. That's what we often hear from students. They always find someone of their own community here somewhere in Belgium. Brussels, for example, is a city with 180 nationalities and 100 languages spoken. So when you feel homesick one day, you will always find someone to talk to in your mother tongue. Then, of course, also the economy. We are a quite strong region. We have various strong sectors. This is a picture of the port of Antwerp, where we have a huge petrochemical sector. Now also they are doing innovations in terms of hydrogen and, you know, new ways of energies, new energies. Another strong sector is the pharmaceutical sector. We have a Pfizer factory. We had lots of research done as well on COVID vaccines, for example. We have logistics as a strong sector. This comes, of course, with the fact that the port of Antwerp is a very big port in Europe, one of the biggest. And there is a lot of logistics, of course, connected to that, mainly container port here in Antwerp. Then we also have a strong water, blue economy and research about that. And yeah, well, if you want to look into that a bit more, then there are certainly a lot of sectors that could be of interest also for your studies. Then the next reason is that it's at the heart of Europe, as we call it. So we have Brussels as a European capital, let's say, with the European Commission. This picture is a picture of the European Commission building. We have the European Parliament building as well, shared with Strasbourg in France, of course. 1 week a month they go to France, and the rest of the time they are in Brussels, the members of the European Parliament, the European Council, and then we also have lots of international organizations, of course, lots of embassies, press agencies, NGOs, lobbying institutions that all come where these international organizations are, but next to that also businesses where English is spoken, where you could easily find an internship or even a job after your studies if you would like to stay for a while in Belgium. And then last but not least, you have to live here, and life is quite good in Belgium. Students mention that they can go out, there are nice bars, restaurants, there's very strong, vibrant cultural scene, lots of concerts. In the COVID days, this was a bit less, of course, but last summer, everything was back on the agenda, and that was actually a very, very good feeling also for us Belgians, going from music and theater, opera to sports events and all kinds of things. So I'm sure you would find something you like to do in your free time here as well. Then if we take a look at the structure of our Flemish higher education system, we have, like a few more European countries, 2 types of higher education institutions. On the one hand, we have the universities or research intensive universities. And on the other hand, we have what we call universities of applied sciences, and the arts, the schools of arts are integrated as well in those universities of applied sciences. If we look at what you can study here, this is a slide you would have to look at in 2 horizontal lines. You see 2 lines. If you look at the top line, this one, these are all the types of programs you can study in a research intensive university. So starting with the bachelor, academic bachelor, we call it in that case, because it's rather theory research based. Then the master, you can do an advanced master, but you don't have to. And you can do a PhD, of course, as well in the universities. Then if we look at the bottom line, we can see what we can study in a University of Applied Sciences. They also have a bachelor degree, but here then we would call it professional bachelor because it's more applied, more examples of the work field. They would more often invite people from businesses, for example, to come and give a talk in the classroom. But importantly here to mention is that on your degree, it will say bachelor. So if you study here a bachelor and you go abroad later on for a master, your degree will say bachelor and nothing more specific. You could also start with associate degrees here, but these are only offered in Dutch until now. So that's why I'm not going into detail about these. Then you can do an advanced bachelor. It's a 1-year program. Or you could also go from a professional bachelor to a master, but then you would have to do a kind of bridging program. This is in the Flemish higher education system. I have already heard about students doing a professional bachelor degree in IT, for example, here, and then they go to the UK or to another country in Europe, and they don't need the bridging program. They can go straight to a master. This all depends on the receiving institution of the master, of course. So if we look at the duration of the studies, we express them in European credits. ECTS is the European credit system. 1 credit equals 25 to 30 hours of work, including attending classes, research, reading, writing, passing the exam. So a course will probably have 4 to 6 to maybe 8 credits. and a year will then have 60 credits. So associate degrees are usually 2 years, in some cases only 1.5. Professional and academic bachelor degrees are 3 years, so 180 credits. Exception for nursing, which is 4 years, and then master degrees, master degrees can be 1 or 2 year master degrees. Exception again for medical studies, but there again, mostly offered in Dutch. So we are not going into detail about that. And then the bridge programs, they really depend on how many courses or how many items of subjects and courses you need to work on before you enter the master degree. So this could be 1 year, or it could be 45 credits, or it could be 90 credits. It really depends. If we look at the names of our universities, these are the 5 research intensive universities. I put them in alphabetic order, so there's no ranking among my order. Ghent and KU Leuven are the biggest universities. Hasselt is a very small university, and Antwerp and Brussels are medium-sized university with around 25,000 students each. So to give you an idea. And then we have 13 universities of applied sciences and arts, and they are all listed up here. And you also find them on our website, where you can mainly study the professional bachelor degree. I have to add that in the schools of arts and in the Antwerp Maritime Academy, you can also study master degrees. Those are an exception to the fact that the universities of applied sciences only offer bachelors. Then, if we look at the English taught programs, we have quite a few, as you see, especially at master level. We have a good offer already at bachelor level, and this is increasing year after year. But we have much more available in English at the master level. What we call postgraduate degrees are actually more rather certificates. They are not always a full degree, not always 60 credits. They can be 20 or 30 credits as well, so half a year of study. So if you don't have a full degree yet, you probably want to look into bachelor's and master's, and postgraduate is rather something to specify certain expertise in your field if you already have a degree. PhDs are rather tailor-made programs. They come in research projects funded by the EU or funded by industry, or you have your own PhD proposal and you have to find a professor to be your director. So there, I would say you can go directly on our website, look for PhDs, and then you land on the pages of the universities and you see which programs they offer. Also, they come and go the whole year round. So it could be that they have a new research project funded by the EU that is approved in February, and they hire the students until April, and then it's gone. But then again, there may be another project which is then posted on the websites in June, and they hire over the summer. So if you're looking for PhDs, you should look on a regular basis on these websites. To see all the study programs we offer in English, you can go to our website, studyinflanders.be, and then programs. There you have a very interesting tool. You can search in the field of study, you can search for all masters, and there we only show the English taught programs. Of course, we also have a lot of Dutch taught programs, but we think, I'm not sure if any in the audience speak Dutch, so we focus on the English taught programs here in this webinar. If you want to meet our students to see what they have to say about studying here, I think it's a very interesting source of information for you to see if this would be a destination for your needs and that would fit you. We have lots of videos on our website. One section is meet our students, but we also have a section after your studies. And there we have some videos with alumni as well. And then in addition to that, we have Instagram and Facebook, where we have student ambassadors taking over our account for 1 week, for example, showing where they study, how they live, what the classes are like, what the environment is like, if they go by bus or by bike, or how they go to class and what they do with their friends. So you can follow us there on Study in Flanders. And we think it's very, very insightful for you to get a feel of us as a study destination. Then if we take a look at the academic year, of course, in different parts in the world, we have different calendars, I imagine. Here, the academic year starts mid or end September. So usually international students should be here by, let's say, early September to have time to find a room, to take a welcome week. All institutions have welcome weeks before you come. They show you around the faculty and the campus and the buildings. They help you to open a bank account, or they even show you websites where you can find rooms. If needed, they teach you how to cycle a bike, because some students are not used to that. It can, and of course, you can make a lot of friends already in the first week before you have to start and study and attend classes. So then we start the first semester. So you can see we have just started, and we go on with the classes now till the end of December. Then there is 2 weeks, actually, Christmas and New Year break. But in higher education, I wouldn't call it break, because this is really time you need to study. Also, beginning of January, you have some time off still to study. And then around, I think, the 10th of January, you start your exams until the end of the month of January. Then you have 1 week, which is a real holiday, like a mid-year break. That's the time when you can visit other places, maybe Paris or London, or you can have friends coming over to see you, or you really are free between 1 week and 1 semester and another. Then the second semester starts, and till the classes go on till end of May. Then you have 2 or 3 weeks to study, and then again June will be exams. Now, if you don't get all your credits immediately in those 2 semesters, we have resit exams in summer. So you can resit an exam, for example, starting around the 15th of August till the early September. And if you then pass the exam, you still get the credit within this year, and you go on to the next year with all your credits. That's, I think, interesting to know, especially if you come to a new higher education system with a new way of doing exams and classes. It could be that you need these resit exams for 1 or 2 credits. Okay, then tuition fees, very important, I think, for you to know. Earlier on, I said we think the average cost is around 12,000, but as a student, a non-EU student, you would pay between 1,000 and 6,000 euros on average. Now, the interesting thing is that every program has its price. So there's not a one price for one university. Even within the same university, you can be interested in 3 programs and they may have different prices. So that's important for you to look at every program's price. But it's very reasonable. We have only very few programs costing more than 6,000. What are the admission criteria? Of course, we will always ask a proof of English proficiency through one of those international tests like IELTS and TOEFL and so on. Your previous degree, high school degree or bachelor degree. And then there may be some program-specific admission criteria. For example, if you have a high school degree and you want to study engineering, then we may want to check a bit more your knowledge of math and science through some international test, but this will then be communicated to you. And so be early, I would say, to inform about which program is of your interest, to see if you need to take any of those tests. We have very few entry examinations, only for medicine and dentistry, fine arts and music, and also teaching degrees, but these are mainly taught in Dutch. Veterinary sciences also will get an entrance exam in the future, I think maybe next year already. Then admission deadlines for non-EU students is around February, March, because of course you need time to apply for your student visa. So it's good to get started. Admissions usually open around now. You can start asking questions or making up your mind what you want to study, and then check very carefully. Usually you have to apply through an online platform where you upload all your documents, and so start checking early that you can have all your documents ready and upload them all together before you submit your application. Then the time you will have to wait for an answer will differ from one institution to another. Some universities, they work through the applications as they come, so you will have to wait a few weeks. Other universities wait until the deadline and then deal with all the applications at once. So if you are then early to apply, you may have to wait a few months then before you get the answer. Then you can also check on our website again, studyinflanders.be, what the universities write in their application and admission process. If you find a program, for example, you can click on it and you end directly at the website of the university itself. So there you can further search more very specific information. Cost of living here in Flanders and Brussels, we have put it up around 900 and 1,000 now. It used to be between 800 and 900, but now as energy cost is going up a little bit, we want to be on the safe side. So I think 900 is really fine, but we don't know next year, of course. So that's why I put 900 up to 1,000 for basic housing, which is a student room or a shared flat, for example. Usually students here, they live in what we call a student cot or a student house, which is then they have one room, a private room for them, but they share the kitchen and the bathroom. And then especially sharing the kitchen and some living space is really nice to meet other students, to cook together, to always have someone to talk to when you come home, and that could be really nice. So a room would be around, I would say, 400 or 500 euros. If you want a studio flat with your own kitchen and bathroom, it's probably 500 or 600 euros. You could also share an apartment. For example, you can rent apartments for 800 or 900 euros with 2 bedrooms and then share with a friend. That's also possible, but then the energy cost comes on top of the rental price, of course. Then books and courses usually are not very expensive. Every university usually has a kind of cooperative shop where lots of courses are printed at a very interesting price. Some books will be a bit more expensive, but not really. Food and personal expenses can be included in this price. Mobile phone and your data subscription, entertainment, of course, going out, sports, and so on. Lots of universities and universities of applied sciences also give discounts on facilities for sports and activities students would like to do. Transportation in Belgium is also very easy and cheap for students because, again, there you have lots of discount passes for students by trains, by metro, by bus, tram, anything. Even you can find very cheap buses to travel to Amsterdam or Paris as well. And health insurance is also very cheap, actually, here in Belgium. Now, To get your visa, if you come to study a full degree, it would be what we call visa type D. If you go on the website, this is the type of visa you have to look for. This is needed if you don't have an EU passport. So all non-European economic area students, they would need this type of visa. You first need to do the whole admission process because you need the admission letter for your visa application. Then also there's a new form called the standard form. It's a very simple form, but it has to be completed also by your higher education institution. This is to know that you will actually attend a full degree program, because this is a requirement of the student visa type D, that you are a full-time student. You cannot get a visa for just 3 courses, for example. Then you need to prove your solvency. You need to prove that you will have enough money to support yourself during 1 full year. Until now, this amount of money is 730 euros a month, so times 12. But the price of this setting of the price is done in February, March. So we expect in February, March, this price to go up to around 800 euros. So for next academic year, I would say be ready to count on 800 euros a month. The way you can prove the solvency, there are different ways, but one interesting and hassle-free way, I would say, is to transfer your money to a blocked bank account at the university where you will study. They will then give you a certificate that you have transferred this money on a blocked account on your name, but on their bank account actually. And they will then give you a monthly installments once you are here. But with this paper, you can very easily apply for your visa. The embassies, they know this blocked account procedure, and they trust it very, very well. So it's a very common procedure in Belgium. Of course, beside that, you can also work with a guarantor and so on. The other options are on the website. Then you also need a proof of health insurance, of course. Sometimes students take a kind of travel health insurance to travel first, and another one starting from once you set foot here in Belgium. But that you can, of course, find out. You have our website, studyinflanders.be, but this IBZ is also the website of the immigration office. There you could also find a lot of information. And of course, for the Belgian embassies here, I put the link here as well. Then scholarships, we often get the question, do you have scholarships? Yes, we do. First of all, we have Erasmus Plus scholarships for joint master programs, for example. Then we have the Mastermind Scholarship Program, which is funded by the Flemish Ministry of Education. You first have to be selected by your own institution to go forward to the central selections here in Brussels for the Mastermind Scholarship Program, because every university has a limited number of applications they can send through. They cannot send 500 applications each, because of course this would be impossible to deal with. So they have to do a quite strict, let's say, pre-selection already. Then they can send through the applications to the central application. This will be done by the end of April. Then during the month of May, we have the juries to decide about the ranking of the scholarship winners. And then if you would apply and you would be among the positively ranked persons, you would get the notice in, I think, end of May, 1st of June. If you have been applying at different programs and you decide not to take the scholarship, it goes to the next one. So if at first you don't receive the scholarship, it could still be that you are on the waiting list and you get later notice that you still get the scholarship, the Mastermind Scholarship. And then there are a few scholarships of the universities themselves. maybe depending on one academic chair or one faculty. They are rather rare, but they exist. Then another question we often get from international students is if they can work here during their studies and after their studies. The answer is yes for both cases. During the studies, you can legally work up to 20 hours a week, but we already said before, you have to be a full-time student. So that's why we advise you not to work as much. You could work one Saturday, for example, one weekend day if you want to work 8 or 10 hours a week, 2 evenings maybe. But you still need to count enough time to spend on your studies to get your credit, of course. Then after your studies, you can make use of what we call the orientation year. This is an option to prolong your residence permit after your graduation. So for all students who get a higher education degree in Belgium, they have the right to prolong their study visa for 12 months to find a job or start a business. You have to apply at least 1 month before your student visa will expire. And you have to, of course, prove your solvency as well for the time you want to stay before you would have a job. Then some updates maybe on the pandemic situation. Everything went back to code green, as we call it. So there are no face masks compulsory anymore. People sometimes wear them if they want to in a crowded bus, for example, but it's up to them. Courses will take place mainly on campus. This is important also to know for international students. There are not so many online classes, maybe a few, but rather the exception. So you have to actually be able to arrive in Belgium on time for your course. Vaccinations we have lobbied from the beginning that they are possible not only for Belgian nationals, but for all international students. So even if you would need a booster shot during the time that you are here, this can be arranged. We are taking now the 4th booster shot. The elderly have taken already a 5th, I think. And if you want to follow, anything about the COVID-19 data, we have the National Health Institute. It's called Cienzano. Here you find their website, and there you can always find more information. We don't know exactly what will happen in winter. Could be that we go back to some more rules like wearing face masks in crowded places, but until now there is nothing has been decided about that, and there doesn't seem to be a need. Okay, that's now the end of my talk. We are ready for questions now, and in the meantime I will show the last slide where you can see our website again, and also a QR code you can scan it's a contact form. You can leave your data if you want to be contacted by our universities. But now I have time to listen to your questions, and hopefully I will know the answer.
Thanks. You will definitely know the answer from the university. I guess, yeah, we only have one question, but I guess you already answered for that. The student is asking what sort of the policy or guidelines, guidance for after study and looking for a job and then the work visa in Belgium. So I guess you already apply for that, and also maybe if that's possible, then you can share with us maybe the website of this policy that student can get on to look for.
Yes, I will in the meantime look for this website, and I put it in the chat. So we put some information on our website about the orientation year, but then it's always good to link to the official immigration office website, and you will also find the link in our website as well, because if they change something, of course, then it's better to be at the source website where you find all the correct information. Here, how to apply. Yes, I'm going to put this link in the chat now. There you go.
Okay. So I guess I'll just ask you the question, then I'll post the information on yeah, and to everybody. Okay, the student would like to know or study for PhD courses. And do you have any information that can provide to the students?
Yes, here again, also I think it's useful that I put the link. We have on our website the page programs, and then also we underneath the program search tool, we have a page about PhDs, and I will put the link now. So there you will find links to universities and universities of applied sciences and arts, because of course you can also do a PhD in arts. Then it is still connected with the university, but the openings and all the information will be there. Wait, I have chat and Q&A. Where do you want me to post it?
Chat, please.
Chat, yes, okay. So here is the page. So if you click on that, you end up at the page with hyperlinks to all the universities and specifically to their PhD page. And as I said, this is a page I would look at every month at least, because they post PhD projects with grants, and the grants are really good grants. They are like a starting salary, I would say, so you can easily rent a flat and pay living expenses and travel home, for example. You can easily afford with a PhD grant. Of course, you can also do a PhD without a grant. And here I have to say, if you can support yourself, the tuition fees for PhDs are very, very low. First of all, if we take 4 years for the PhD, you would pay only in year 1 and 4. You pay, and the rule is you pay in the first year and the year when you present you defend your thesis. So it's only twice, and it's less even than for master studies. For example, I think it's 500-600 euros.
Yeah, I think that's a very good bargain. Not to mention that right now the euro to Taiwanese dollars, and it's very good. I would say even I would like to travel or visit Belgium again. And it's such a beautiful city, and also everything is in the central of Europe, so you stay there. It's basically just make you feel okay. I'm in the center of the Europe. So that's really a good, I would say, a very recommendation to the student here tonight online, to consider study in Belgium and also in Flanders. Okay, the student would like to see the slide number 8. The
slide
PowerPoint
number 8.
Yeah, so I
we'll
guess
go back to
slide
number. This is slide number 8.
The 6th reason.
Yeah. Is this what you want to see?
Yeah, is this what you want to see, Mandy Wang? I guess, yeah, I can, it's very, very easily to mention, to say how many, the good reason to study in Flanders or in Belgium. The living cost is not too high, and the tuition fee is really, it's very, very, compatible and very good, and you can easy to consider that. And also it's the center of the Europe. What can you ask more? The living culture there. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay. The next question. For the Belgian university or institution, normally offer the university accommodation. Does the price normally lower than the the university outside? For the compared to
well, yes, some universities have their own buildings for housing, but they tend to be full very quickly. So if you come, let's say for a 2-year study, the first year you come, you can apply, you can try, but it can be hard to get in because the places fill up quickly. And yes, they probably are a little bit cheaper than the private market. Maybe, well, yeah, what should I say? Maybe 100 euros or so. So it's worth to try, but I also know that it's probably not so easy to get in because, of course, they have a limited number of spaces, and most of the students go to private student housing. It's good to look at agencies who are, you have some of these agencies who have a really good transparent policy that they block your money before they send it to the landlord, yes. So that everything is fine with the key and everything works as it should when you arrive. Because we don't recommend just sending your money to anybody because you don't know people. It can happen everywhere. We don't know a lot of stories about problems, but in general, I would say internationally, you want to work with a website or an organization that is, that is credible.
So does normally the private accommodation would also cover the utility costs, like the gas, electricity, water, something like that?
Yes, it depends. So there you have to look at what at the offer. Sometimes they would say the price per month is 400, and then you pay 250 for the whole year, which includes Wi-Fi and utility cost and so on. Or they say the price is 400 and we ask 50 per month for utility cost and everything, which is insurance, fire insurance, energy cost, Wi-Fi, water, everything included. So this depends. It comes in different packages. But it can as well come in like a one set price for the whole academic year or a monthly price.
We see. So yeah, students just have to look into the package and what does it cover.
Yes, and all universities usually have a kind of housing service with also, experts and lawyers who make up standard contracts. So usually there is a standard contract, for example, a KU Leuven rental contract. So this already helps you to see that it's a good contract, that all the obligations of the landlord and the rights of the students are guaranteed, that there is a housing service you can go and talk to. They have websites as well. You can easily look at these websites in advance. There we have usually a very good framework. Of course, it's possible that private players at the private market, they have 5 big buildings and they have their own contract. Doesn't mean that they are not good, these contracts, but you could still compare to a standard contract to see what should be part of a normal contract here. And you will always find a translation in English also at the websites of the universities, of the housing services.
Great. Okay, next question. Students want to know, besides all the courses are taught in English, so living in Flanders, does the basic maybe Dutch or German language is necessary, or basically speaking or using English, it can be, living and communicate normal in the city?
Yes, English is widely spoken. You can easily go shopping, go to a restaurant, order at a bar, do what you have to do in English. If you want to have a student job, it could be that, depends. In Brussels, it will be very easy to find a job with only English, but in a smaller student city, probably there are less jobs if you don't speak the local language to have a job as a student. That's something to take into account.
True. Yeah, and also a similar question. Is it easy to learn Dutch in the Walloon region?
In the Walloon region, well, they will have courses, of course, but the Walloon region is the French-speaking region. So if you are in the French-speaking region and you want to learn Dutch, yes, you can always go to some kind of, you know, there are these adult learning centers where you can have a course, let's say 1 night a week. It's certainly possible, but the environment, of course, will speak French to you. So your daily grocery shopping and everything will be done in French or in English. So then there's less time to practice, of course.
True. Yeah, and the student would like to know or learn what sort of the ratio or of the international students, you know, where are they coming from, or what's the ratio in your university?
The ratio overall of all these 18 universities is 12%, 13 this year actually, but depends. As you've seen, we have much less bachelors than masters, so in the master level already will be a bit higher. At the PhD level is very high, it's 30 or even 40% maybe. Many internationals coming for PhDs. So, and then even it can really differ from course to course. Sometimes we have also a lot of Belgian students who prefer to do their bachelor degree in Dutch and then do their master degree in English because they also want to be ready to work internationally, you know. But in some courses, you have hardly any Belgians in the course and mainly international. So it really depends, but the average overall, everything together is 13%.
Okay, that sounds great. You know, it's an international city. Of course, you know, if you can meet out more internationals, then that's not a bad thing, I would say. Okay, I guess the continued question for that student want to see the slide number 8 is mainly the slide with all the subject. I think that's with the 13 university.
The names? Or the subject,
the course subject.
This one with all the English programs?
Not sure.
No, or this?
The number 8. So this is 3. So go down to 8.
I see.
Is it?
I see.
There's
You want number 8, and this in my case is slide 22, but number 8 here. Yes. So okay. About the visa application, yes.
So this is on the visa, all right? So I guess for all the information about visa, and please just visit university's website and then to look into the guidelines and also the detail for that. Okay,
yes,
one last
and this
question.
website with DOFI IBZ is the website of the Immigration Office, so the Federal Immigration Office. There you find the latest updates.
So last question, the student asking, beside all the courses are taught in English, are they different from the general courses?
Yeah, well, the official language is Dutch, as we said. So Belgian students in the Flemish higher education system, they have to be able to study in their mother tongue, of course, which is Dutch. Are they different? Well, they might be slightly different, but I don't think they're really different. Sometimes there are just 2 programs. One, for example, we have a school with a very interesting bachelor degree in game design. They are the number 1 or among the best of the world in game design. And they have a program in Dutch and a program in English. And I think the programs are really the same. It's just because they want to cater for international students. So they offer the program in English as well.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Thanks, Ms. my first. Thanks for all the information and very detailed information introduction about studying Flanders. I hope the student, they already received lots of information from your presentation and then get well prepared for their application form. And students, if you have any question, please do get in contact with the university, and then you can scan the QR code or write down the website and also the email address, and then to get in contact with the university. Okay, thanks again for tonight. Okay, 今天谢谢大家的参与。今天谢谢大家的参与。下周三11月2号晚间7点钟，2022年 European Study Talk 留学欧洲部署未来，要为大家带来的是留学英国和德国知名的大学学校课程和申请介绍，是由英国莱斯特大学以及德国德勒斯登工业大学，都是知名的英国以及德国的学校。如果你想要再了解更多留学德国、留学英国，欢迎你再报名来参加我们下个礼拜下周三不对，是下礼拜11月2号晚间7点钟的留学讲座。还没有报名的同学，请赶紧前往我们 EFD 的官方网站，或是我们的脸书上报名，或是如果有任何问题，也欢迎你在我们的聊天室下面来留言来告诉我们。今天谢谢大家的参与，我们希望下一次再看到大家来参加我们的线上讲座。大家再见，拜拜，晚安。